everyone. I'm James Milan. Welcome to this episode of Talk of the Town, in which you will see a perhaps familiar face to many Arlingtonians and one who is not familiar just yet, but should be, and we'll explain why. This part of the Talk of Town is a place where we like to explore Arlington's local gems, institutions here in town that are doing great work for the community, and then also take that local piece and connect it to a more national or global piece. And in this case, my guests are Susan Dorson from Arlington Eats, an aforementioned golden institution here in town, and Matthew Martin, who is here from End Hunger New England. And if you're wondering what that means, End Hunger New England, it means exactly that, and we'll tell you why. So first of all, both of you, thank you very much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it took a little while for us to put this whole thing together, but so glad to have you. We're going to be talking about what people can see displayed out here on the table in front of us. But first, I want to actually start, Matt, with, I was mentioning End Hunger New England. You've got a rather distinctive T-shirt
Yes.
on. So go ahead and tell us about that and how it connects to your organization and what you do.
So every time we feed 7 million people, we design a shirt. So this was the 49 millionth because we knew we were going to be hitting 50. We just literally started packing the meals 15 years ago, and we got funding. We'd get volunteers, we'd pack the meals, we'd give them. And about every month we get 3 new pantries. I don't know when Arlington Eats popped in, but they would just, it's all word of mouth. So every donor, every volunteer, every recipient found out about us probably on Facebook or Instagram or just from a neighbor or somebody that said, we get free food from Pembroke, you should come and be a part of this, and they just get involved. So we've been adding so many more people because it's gone from a snowball to an avalanche, but we were coming up on 50. We're almost to 51 now because it's just moving so fast.
Okay, so that
This month in particular with the shutdown and the SNAP benefit crisis and everything happening, but we designed this shirt knowing that this was a goal that we were going toward pretty rapidly, and we had set the goal a little bit out, designed the shirt, and tried to get people thinking about it. It's if you know, you know. Not everybody knew what this meant, so a lot of people found out about it in the last couple of years as we strive to get to this 50.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure that if you know that is true for our audience. I just want to reiterate what you just said, because you said it quickly, and I think people may not have focused on it. And that means you say every time we feed 7 million, we get a new T-shirt, which, by the way, those numbers are a little bit off there, I think. A T-shirt for each 7 million. But you know, that 50 on your chest, worn proudly, deservedly so, means 50 million meals delivered here in New England by your organization. Folks, that's why we're here. We want to talk about how that manifests locally through Arlington Eats, but also how does such a thing come to exist? So I want to turn first, actually, before we get into the nitty-gritty of your guys' partnership and collaboration and how you do what you do, I want to just take the moment to ask you, because we are filming this in mid-November of 2025, and we've just come out of a long government shutdown, but one in which the last week of which involved withholding of all kinds of benefits that meant for each of your organizations a real crisis and emergency. So let me ask you first, Susan, you know, from Arlington Eats' perspective, how did it go these last couple of weeks as you had to try and meet this crisis demand?
Yeah. So we did great, I think. So we didn't turn anybody away. We never do. We definitely saw a lot of new faces. We also saw faces of people who hadn't been to visit us in 2 or 3 years, people who were doing fine with their SNAP benefits and suddenly saying, wait, this is not here and I need to do something. Oh wait, I remember Arlington Eats, and they would come back. And we could also see the stress amongst our guests, kind of the folks who were using SNAP saying, wait a minute, I thought I could rely on this. I thought my government had my back. And so they were definitely anxious. They knew we had food for them, but we could also see people taking a little more, because when you're suddenly feeling insecure about things, you're like, well, maybe I better save up. So we could sense the stress and the uncertainty among people. But we were there, we had plenty of food. And then on the flip side, our community has been amazingly generous. So in terms of food drives and walking in donations, the number of new volunteers signing up to join our ranks, checks and organizations doing kind of fundraisers for us. So it's been an amazing outpouring of support, and we know that our community has our back and has the backs of all of our neighbors, and we're there. We know that we can do the work. But there's always, a need for more. So, we definitely put it in order with you all, and I knew we were packed up. And that's, so we know that's coming down the pike. But right now, we're in a really good place. Definitely things are calming down, but we definitely found, new people found us who will probably continue to come. And prior to the last few weeks, kind of the largest week we'd had was about 560 families. We surpassed 600 families in a week. And that was a new record for us, which is, on one hand, we're really glad to be reaching people who need our help. On the other hand, we're like, wow, this is a lot. So we're trying to figure out how do we find more storage space, things like that. But while it was, I think, emotionally draining for a lot of us, because we really had to make sure that we kind of got people through and supported folks, we weathered it really well with the support of our entire community and staff and volunteers. So
it's really great, truly great to hear that. And I don't know, I guess it's slightly surprising to hear it. In the end, it was a short-lived kind of interim, but the fact that you always had enough food throughout, was that because you or just happened to be, and I know in general Arlington Eats is in a strong place at the moment. And so you had those reserves available or whatever, because as you said, that demand went up very suddenly, right?
It was a combination of things. Partly we always make sure we have a little bit of extra. We did divert some funds towards purchasing more produce, so we were able to focus on procuring more dry goods from Greater Boston Food Bank, and then we purchased more produce to fill in holes. And then just the food drives started coming in fast and furious, and we work with Food Link, who were probably able to get us some more food. So we just we were strategic. We know where our resources are. We know what we're able to do, so we worked really hard at kind of managing all that, and it worked really well. So yeah, we're kind of always a little bit ready for that next wave, just a little bit. So I think we're never caught completely unaware. We knew that there was going to be growth over the next year anyway, as people get pushed off SNAP. So we're kind of preparing for that and just trying to kind of grow the resources we have on site.
Well, just before moving over to Matthew and finding out what's going on and from his perspective, I just do want to note that you mentioned it yourself. The fact was, it may turn out that this was an opportunity in some ways, as well as a crisis, an opportunity for more people to become aware of you and what you do, and to support that. So if they stick, then that may be a real benefit coming out of this whole thing.
I've kind of referred to it a little bit as a fire drill, or a test of the emergency system to see, and it was like, okay, we got this. We understand how to deal, and hopefully coming forward, it won't be all at once. So such a large number of people all at once. They'll kind of slowly find us. But
it's like that coming out of the financial crisis. They had to do the bank stress tests, et cetera. You just had your own, and you weathered it very well. Matthew, how did it go for you? Because some of the, I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about numbers, because people get just tune out in some ways. But these numbers are so startling. And you did mention what you've done in the last 2 weeks. So if you want to start with that, go ahead.
Yeah, so we were informed when the SNAP benefit crisis happened that there would literally be 1 million people in Massachusetts that were in need. And some would be in this town and some would be in that town, but we covered the whole region. So it wasn't just Massachusetts we were worried about, it was everybody. And over the last 15 years, we've kind of had this roller coaster ride of hunger was really high. We drove it down, pandemic hit, it started to go down, inflation. Then all this crazy stuff with the government started happening, where there's this cut and this is going away. And then it just kept going like this. And Greater Boston Food Bank warned us that this was going to be going up. It has gone up significantly. It will continue to go up significantly numbers wise. But in our situation, we just have many more places. So Arlington Eats finds out about us, but so did 666 other places. And it used to be the numbers would be more like 400 places. We're coming up on 700. So that's a
These
multiplier.
meaning 700 meaning people
places
or
that
organizations
want
like
provide for their
Arlington
community.
Needs. There you go.
Sometimes it's a handful of places in one community like Brockton. Sometimes there's one or two in a community, but we have all of these places that want to get meals from us. So over these, I call it a conveyor belt of need. There's somebody gets their order, somebody places an order. It's not the same person all the time. We're just cycling through. About 31% of those 700 places come to us right in Pembroke, like you do, to pick them up. And we have this kind of upper limit that we were always able to kind of push down, and then it will go up. And so we kind of are always riding this mid zone, and we just blew right past that. So the numbers for us is, if I could get a check from somebody for this amount of money, we could pack everything everybody wants right now. That number has almost never gone over $100,000. We would drive it down. Somebody would make a huge generous donation. Liberty Mutual gives us 50 grand. We could drive it down, but we could never get it to zero. But it wouldn't.
It wouldn't get over
We're at
100 too much.
$202,000 right now.
Wow.
So we're
Right,
just
so-
doing everything we can to. We just got a $20,000 donation yesterday, but we have to pack them, get them out, and by the time we do that, somebody else is ordering. So I've kind of, for about 10 days now, every order we can get out, another order appears, and I can never quite get under 200,000. We're almost never over 100,000. So we have packed 557,000 meals. Tonight is my 16th event in 18 days. So it's just been nonstop.
So
since the start
in
of the
these last 18 days, that's 500 and
So on the way here, I was just doing some math because I am a numbers guy. If you just clock every hour for all of those 18 days, we have packed 1,300 meals.
every single hour
24 hours a day.
Wow.
For 2.5 weeks.
I mean,
So-
again, bah,
Yeah.
you know, it's really hard to fathom what you guys have
And the
managed
hardest
to
thing to
put
fathom
together.
is we have packed 557,000 meals, but we still have requests for 505,000 more.
More, yeah. So just as
that's
Susan was
the issue.
right, as Susan was describing the local situation, there's never again it's not quite. There's an old quote from Simon Bolivar about plowing the sea. You know that you can put a lot of effort into something that's just continuously, growing anyway.
I hear about Sisyphus a lot.
Yeah, I'll bet you do. I'll bet you do. That's another great analogy. However, we're here also, mainly to talk about how well, how right things are going in both of your realms and how that works. So let's get to what folks have, been able to see, a little feast for the eyes here. Some nice colors, and there are even more such that you can't see, but there's a whole rainbow full of colors here on packages. The story about that is interesting, as we were discussing before we went on air. I just want to remind folks that if you have ever been to Arlington Eats, and if you haven't, you should, because it's really quite an operation over there. Anyway, the best used part of that operation by the public is a grocery store, and it looks and feels like a grocery store. And these products are on the shelves of that grocery store, looking like they would at a Stop and Shop or anywhere else. Tell us how and why that is so. First of all, from your perspective, please.
So I started working at Arlington Eats about 6 years ago, and I think shortly after I started, I had heard about your organization, and we got maybe it was our first order. It might have been before me, but I placed my first order pretty early on. And I do remember there was a point during the pandemic we were just kind of really struggling, and we got a nice sized order from you, and we're like, okay, this is awesome. This stuff's gonna kind of fill our shelves for a while. And we did all home delivery during the pandemic, so we got a lot of feedback. Guests would give us little notes in their order forms, and there was a gentleman who really loved the minestrone soup, and he would call that out. And I was like, oh, and I always think of it when we place the orders. I'm like, I got to make sure I have the minestrone soup for this one gentleman who really enjoyed it. So it's been really great to kind of fill in spots when we're struggling or we want to have more variety. And this is, again, these are great, quick, easy to make meals, right? Complete meals with all the things, and all you really need to do is add your water. And so I think as also for senior citizens or parents who want a quick meal, we don't get a lot of that. We don't get this kind of product from Greater Boston Food Bank. We mostly have more of the whole meals. And so I think it's a really great product, and it's been really helpful for us, kind of helping fill the shelves and add something wonderful for folks to eat.
Okay, and Matthew, tell us about the product that Susan is talking about here.
So every one of these bags will feed 6 people for $2.40. So every time we pack meals, I challenge people to take $2.40 and try to get a meal just for yourself that's even remotely nutritious. No one can do it, but this will feed 6 people. It could be a breakfast, there's rice pudding dessert, there's 6 of them that can be for lunch or supper, but they're literally what you just said, meals ready to eat. So you boil water, you pour it in, like if you've ever had Easy Mac in your life, you take the cheese pack out, you pour it in, you keep stirring until the water boils out, you sprinkle that cheese on there, you stir it up. Ours is cheese, milk, and butter, because a lot of homeless people get the meals. They just have to get to boiling water, and they're able to have a nice meal. They can cook it in one pot, eat it out of the same pot. So it's just like camping. If you took a meal like that, you have to make it there. That's what it is. They're all the same nutritionally. They're just way more nutritious than any leading brand. 5 times as nutritious as Kraft. This is 10 times as nutritious as the leading brand, the beans and rice. But they're all super simple to make. They all cost the same. They all have the same components. They might have 3 or 4 or 5 ingredients, but there's 4 things in every one of them. 21 vitamins and minerals. There's a main ingredient. There's a flavoring. There's a protein or 2. It's all in there. So it's just super nutritious. The meals are half as expensive to produce as the ones that are sold on the shelves. So we can just crank out tons of meals really inexpensively. And the people who get them for free. A lot of the pantries even get them for free. They don't contribute anything to the cause of making them. Sometimes you just get a big check from someone who loves this pantry in mid-Maine, and they want us to get a bunch of meals up to mid-Maine and to anywhere else that needs them. So we just rely on donors. We rely on volunteers to double the value of the meal just by packing it. We rely on outlets to get it. People like Michael to come and pick up meals and bring them back to Arlington Meats. So people hand them out and get to eat. So the neighbors get fed, and everybody has a part in the process. They can play all the parts. They can play one part, but they just do their part, and it allows us to feed literally millions of people every year. Almost 1 million in a month if we kept going at the rate we're at right now. But there's a lot of need, so we have to do these things, and everybody just gets in. When you get it as a client, this is my favorite of the 10, but you don't have to read or speak English to figure out how to make it. It's words and pictures on the back. It's boil water. It's a fancy bag, so there's dignity in the client receiving it. Like, oh, this is a really nice meal. But it's easy to make, and it's nutritious.
And you were saying this is in response to the fact that you have started in a big way over the last number of years to feed people in New England. So tell us about how things started and who was being served initially and how that has expanded.
So 21 and a half years ago, my boss and his wife retired. They're Rotarians, so they were business people that are really service-minded. They have this mantra of service above self, service above self. They did that their whole career. They were just about to buy a sailboat and sail the world. They had friends that were going on a medical mission trip. They said, Floyd, come and build some stuff. Bring Kathy. It's Africa. It's not Iowa. Enjoy. So they went for a couple of months. They saw starvation they'd never seen in central Iowa before. They repurposed. And sometime early next year, they're going to have fed 1 billion, with a B, billion hungry people in their retirement.
I'm sorry, did you guys hear that? Seriously, we're talking billion with a B.
Yep. So before they hit 22 years in this thing, they will have fed 1 billion people.
Yeah.
We're going to celebrate. They just came to celebrate with us in Marshfield on the South Shore. We just hit 50 million. We're at almost 51 already, and we're just keep rolling. But they pronounced to the whole crowd there at the Stellwagen that we are the best in the country at doing this. New Englanders are crushing this, and we want to win everything, so we are. But we're proliferating. There was 2 kinds, there's now 10 kinds. We make them all every single month. This weekend, Saturday and Sunday, we're packing because it's right before Thanksgiving, and we are doing all 10 kinds because we have orders from 39 different places for this kind, that kind. I always tell people it's like making a fruit basket. Somebody wants a banana, an apple, and an orange, and some people want this kiwi, whatever. We have to produce all 10 kinds in different amounts. but they're all the same cost. They're all the same nutrition. You make them all the same way. It doesn't matter to us which one we pack. It matters to Arlington Eats clients that we have minestrone
Right,
soup.
but I would think that the fact that you're talking about that kind of uniformity in terms of the ingredients, the processes, et cetera, that's got to be part of the secret sauce too.
Yeah.
Just to keep,
And
that's the way it's going to be
accessible
most
for the
efficient.
clients, but it's accessible for the volunteers or the donors. Someone can give $20,000. Somebody can give $20. We can feed one person for 40 cents. You'll feed a lot of people no matter how much you give. When you volunteer, you're helping feed a couple hundred people every hour, whether you're 5 years old or 105. We haven't had a 105-year-old. We've had a 101-year-old so far, but it doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter if you need the meals later or if you've got all the food you need in your cupboard. You can help the process to make it so that everybody gets to eat.
And somebody was asking before we went on air about where does the food itself, all the stuff, because you rely on volunteers to pack these packages in huge numbers. But of course, you've got to have the food to start with. You mentioned that the founders, your bosses, as you said, came from Iowa.
Yep.
And I assume that's where
Still live in a town
things
of
are.
200 people in Iowa, and they get most of the ingredients from that state or states around them that they've brokered these deals with, where they're buying literal semi-loads of whatever ingredients they need. Someone supplies the raisins, but it's someone near Iowa because they pack a bunch in the flyover territory, but there are also 7 regions now. So they have to get the product out to us. I'm getting a shipment in 2 days. Another semi, because we've been feeding so many people. I probably have to get another semi the next week or two. Twice now, we've gotten 3 semis in 4 weeks.
And each one of those has
250,000 meals in it. So
yeah.
every time
So
we
again,
can fund that much and pack it, we get it. It's normally every 3 weeks or a month, but sometimes it's every other week. Or sometimes it's, I just got one last week. But it's all the volume that we're doing, and it's all based on the need. And sometimes it spikes.
And without getting into too many specifics, Susan, how big a part of what it is that you offer is what you get from these guys, and you had mentioned that back in the pandemic there was a time when you really need to lean on this particular supplier of ours. How did are you working with, I don't know, 10, 15 different organizations that get you stuff that you can put on your shelves? Or
So our largest source of food is the Greater Boston Food Bank, where we get between 75 and 80% of our food. So
Okay.
we are really well resourced from them. But as we grow, it's harder. We keep trying to ask for more, and every so often we get more food, but then the need keeps growing and they can't always respond quickly because there are a lot of other agencies or they're adding new partners. So then we hit points where oh shoot, we're at a pinch point, we really need some extra support. And then partners like this really can help fill those holes while we're trying to find other sources. So it's not always, we don't rely on it on necessarily a regular basis, although we love to have the product, but we probably quarterly or maybe a little more often we place a large order. And then we're able to have it on the shelves, and it's partly for variety, and then every once in a while it's oh man, we need to fill this void. We have the hole and we really need something extra. So it's a combination of adding variety to our shelves and kind of filling in holes when we have them. So
I really am very impressed by so many aspects of what you guys have been talking about, but including this piece of kind of agility on your part that an Arlington Eats can say, oh my goodness, we need something and we need it now. And it hasn't been part of the normal flow of things, but we need it now. And my understanding from what you were just saying is you can turn to these guys to some degree and say, can you get us a lot more minestrone? And you're able to respond in that way.
The neat thing is it's shelf stable, and if you have any type of storage, the meals are good nutritionally for a couple of years.
Oh, okay.
So they've gotten to the point where some pantries are just stocking them to have them kind of in the back of the cupboard. But then the clients say, well, you want that minestrone soup, put it in my bag, and then you use it all up, and they're like, we got to get more for the back of the cupboard.
Right. Our dry space is limited, so that's why we kind of do it every so often. But we love it. It's great.
All right, cool. I want to make sure, because we are, believe it or not, running out of time. Very fast conversation, so much stuff that we have not yet covered. I apologize to our viewers for that, because we could give you an even more comprehensive view. However, I want to make sure that anybody who, I can't help but believe, especially with an Arlington audience, that anybody listening into this, who's finding out about what you do and how well Arlington Eats does what it does, is going to be interested in, hey, how can I either get involved or support, provide support. So let's talk about that.
The beauty of Arlington Eats and End Hunger New England, they're very unique things to Google. And you should be able to find us and donate or
okay, so that's, I mean, it's as
Yep.
simple as that.
It is.
They can find all the information they need. Simply just Google your name and Hunger New England or yours, Arlington Eats, and that's all folks need.
Yeah, and if they can just find out more of the story, go to the websites, go to the social media, see what's happening. There's always contact and connect with us so that we can fill you in on it. But every little bit helps. Anything you do, money, time, connections. If you want to be a delivery driver to come down to Pembroke to get meals for Arlington Eats, whatever works.
Yes, as you had, as an aside, you had mentioned a little bit earlier when you were talking, just casually, you said as Michael does, and we should just let folks know, because he's always hiding in the control room and never taking credit, that Michael Armanius, our most excellent member of the ACMi community and the Arlington community, is the intersection, as well as the producer of these kinds of programs, but is the intersection that has brought the three of us here. And it is folks just like Michael and like yourselves, frankly, to whom we all owe a certain amount of gratitude at the very least. And I appreciate that very much. Let me ask you, Matthew, because I have asked Susan this before, what brought her to this work and what motivates her so much. Tell us what you can about what it is that makes you work pretty much indefatigably in this cause.
So I was 3.5 when my folks got divorced. My dad's a Vietnam vet. A lot of the people we serve are veterans that are hungry and homeless, unfortunately. But single mom, so we could have used food like this in our house. And I have packed meals with people that are like, oh, I ate those meals growing up. They're so excited to be packing them in college or whatever because they were a recipient of them. But I was halfway through college, was homeless for a semester, so that I experienced the need, and I just know no 5-year-old should wonder, where am I sleeping tonight and when do I get some more Easy Mac if I want it? That should be provided. Folks that have worked their entire lives and can't retire, or if they do and they can't feed themselves because everything's too expensive. Veterans, there's so many, 44% of our state school students in Massachusetts are food insecure. So these are people that need help.
Wonderfully said, and I'll keep it simple to both of you. Thank you, and thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I've been speaking with Matthew Martin from End Hunger New England and with Susan Dorson from Arlington Eats. Really appreciate them taking the time to share what it is they do and why. And we appreciate you being here as well. Do be mindful. It's easy to find these organizations and support them. Please consider doing so. For Talk of the Town, and I'm James Milan. Really appreciate you being here, as I said, and we'll see you next time.
ACMi productions are only made possible with your support. Visit patreon.com/ACMi to learn how you can help.